Welcome to the Hole in the Water channel. This channel asks the questions like, what happens between the first and last day you own a boat? Or in this case, why do you need 4 55 series tractors? Is it possible to fall in love with a machine? I must admit that ever since buying my 655 in 1986, I've formed a lasting relationship with the little tractor that's handier than a pocket in a shirt. In the years since, I've reconditioned a 755, numerous 855s. I have 2 955s, one for snow and one for the farm, and my 655 is still tucked away in a dry and heated garage. For some reason, it's difficult to let go of them. This relationship started with an ad in Tractor House. The ad said the 855 was a 2-wheel drive, but the pictures showed it had the 4-wheel mechanical front end. Thinking the gears may be out, I made a call and the owner apologized for the misprint. But he said that if I was looking for a project, he had a 755 that won't start. My pulse quickened. It had a 70 loader. I started sweating, and he suggested I take a look before getting too excited. Let me ask, is driving 190 miles too far to go on a blind date? When we met, I learned that the tractor originally ran good, was sold to a guy who then returned it because it wouldn't start, and it hadn't started since. The air cleaner was loose, and the owner said that even ether wouldn't get it to run. This wasn't a good sign. So they gave up on it. Looking closer, the wire to the front glow plug was off, and a rod replaced the fuel shutoff solenoid. From experience, IDI engines depend on glow plugs to help them start, but what other things could be wrong? Reminds me of junior high wondering if she likes me or not. The only thing to do is ask. Should this 755 be parted out or become a keeper? I took a chance, made a deal, and brought the tractor and loader home. Well, this is the day I've been waiting for. It's time to get started working on this 755. I want to begin by documenting everything externally, see what needs to be repaired, reconditioned, or replaced. Then I want to perform a compression test to find out what's going on inside that engine. At that point, I'll be in a better position to evaluate the next step. So, let's get started. Okay, the first thing we want to look at is this problem here on the hood. Looks like something has punctured it there, so we'll have to see what we can do about that. Well, the battery tray has a lot of corrosion around here. On the other side, the flasher, it's got quite a bit of corrosion on the back of it. We've got a missing bulb there. Obviously going to take some cleaning. There's something funny going on here. Looks like the PTO magnet is missing. Been replaced by a wire tied on there. The seat is in pretty bad shape. Appears to be the original. As you can see, it's got the original bolts and slow-moving vehicle sign on the back. The tractor didn't come with a top link. That's not a big deal. The PTO cover is missing. PTO shaft seal looks a little wet. Otherwise, the pipes look all good, but we've got oil coming out of here. I'll put this down here to catch some of it. So we'll need to replace that rear seal, or the rear transmission cover. It does have the rear lenses and fender lights. Chipping paint, which is not unusual. The scale on the 3-point hitch is broken, as the most of them are. I would guess that this tractor's been repainted at some point, since this is usually black. Battery ground cable's got a kind of a slice in it right there, probably from up in there. The remote loader valve has a lot of play in it, so this main shaft here will have to be replaced, as well as that linkage. Starting on the injection pump side of the engine, notice the fuel shutoff solenoid is missing. The pigtail for it is here, and the linkage that goes to it here is missing. Evidently it's been replaced by a rod for fuel shutoff and start. Not a bad idea, I guess, but not what I think I want to leave it with. From what I can tell, looks like the front gear case has not been off, as this well, I can hardly show you. The paint is still on the original factory seal. And also, from what I can tell, the head has probably not been off, because these bolts don't look like they've been removed either. The left side of the engine seems to be all there, all the parts. Take the radiator cap off. You can see that the core is quite corroded and it looks dry. So we'll try the drain and see if anything comes out. I don't think it even wants to turn. No, I don't think I want to turn that. Since I couldn't get the radiator drain to turn, I'll probably have to wait until I get these hoses off or get to the next step. There's something in there. I guess maybe they have a spring or something inside that hose. Anyway, we'll find out later. Right rear motor mount. Looks like it's gone as well. And the hydraulic hose connectors have got a lot of dirt built up in them. It's been a while since they've been used. Yeah. And from the looks of the hoses, they haven't been plugged in some time. There's one connector missing, and the others are kind of rusty. And this lift cylinder appears to be leaking pretty good. Now the front tires are some Carlisle 6x12s, and by the looks of them, they're new, or not the original John Deere wheels. The tires have been sitting flat, and this slime is coming out through the cracks in the side of the sidewall. This is on the right front. Well, we'll rotate the tires or wheels here to listen for those gears. They sound okay. And notice here's more slime leaking out of the inside of that tire. And we'll wiggle that. That's pretty well normal, what I've found about those bearings, but we're going to check it out anyway. Now the left front doesn't sound like any broken teeth, at least not getting up into those gear sets. One of these bearings has quite a bit of play on it. So when we get in here, we're going to change this seal here as well. This left front wheel has well, I guess it's about ready to break off. Won't take any air, won't hold air.
And this tire has been sitting long enough that the tire's pulled away from the rib. The left front tire is weather checked. It's again been sitting flat for some time. Of course, the tractor was missing a grill, but it did come with the side panels. So one of the first things we want to do is just check the oil, see if it looks like oil or water. Looks like oil. So using a 12mm deep socket, we'll bust that loose. Oh, coming out easy. Looks fairly new. It's an NGK 1712. The 655 and 755 use a pencil type injector, where the 855 and 955s use the pencil types. So what we're going to use is the number 6, the M20 by 1.25" glow plug adapter. This is the number 6. And it has this short shank on the bottom of it here. And of course the gauge. It's 0 to 1,000 pounds. Here's the number 6 adapter shown alongside the glow plug. Notice this shank distance here. A number 4 is slightly longer, but it will bottom out in the bottom of the glow plug hole, and you won't be able to get the threads in. So you have to make sure that you have the shallow end of any kind of an adapter you're going to put in that glow plug hole. So put the number 6 adapter down in there. And put the extension on. And connect the gauge. I have the battery out, but I have the battery cables connected with jumper cables from the 955.
Well, that's cylinder 3. I need to mention that Yanmar numbers the 3TN72 and the 3TN series cylinders in reverse order of what I'd call a normal engine. Number 3 is at the fan end, with number 1 being at the flywheel. It's also time to mention the expected compression pressures after 3 seconds of cranking are 355 to 6 pounds, with no more than 71 pounds difference between cylinders. Number 3 here shows 178. Now on to number 2. I had trouble getting the compression gauge on number 1 and had to loosen the air cleaner bracket. Not an easy thing to do. Apparently someone has been in here before, as witnessed by several washers added to a different style of bolt. Testing a second time, and a couple seconds longer, number 1 was only able to register 20 to 30 pounds, if that. Clearly, number 1 has a major problem, and the other 2 are way under spec. The book says to test when the engine is warm, but that wasn't possible. It also says we can put in some engine oil, But if these dry cylinder numbers are any indication, there's something wrong inside. But before throwing in the towel, I decided to pull the rocker cover and see if there was any funny business going on with any of the valves. So a little 12 millimeter, and we'll see if we can get this valve cover off. Notice that they number their cylinders 3, 2, and 1. Which is kind of interesting. I suppose it has to do with their power unit designation. And I'm a little concerned about this bracket here at the back, that it may have to come off. If so, then this valve cover may not come off without removing it. Let's see what happens. Alright, I'll get something to bust that loose. Let's see if this will do it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, there we came right out. Pretty clean inside, I'd say. Has a funny smell. And let's see what goes on. They seem to be working all right. As they're just supposed to see all of them. Well, the valves look fine, so it's on to the next step, evaluation. The documentation and assessment phase arrived at the usual pile of parts. The PTO magnet, remote valve lever and control linkage, fuel shutoff solenoid linkage, and etc. Other work includes general repair, but doesn't address the question of what to do with the engine. So it's decision time. What do we do? Make it whole again or sell it for parts? By applying a little industrial archaeology to the evidence, the general condition of the tractor suggests that the reason it stopped working has to do with the engine problems. So, I'm presented with two choices. Get it running or part it out. What would you do? Subscribe to follow, but be warned, this project may not last long. Cheers.